Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of SEScoops, and today I'm joined by former four-time Knockouts champion, Hardcore Country, Mickie James. Mickie, how are you doing today?
I'm so good. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm fantastic to be speaking with you ahead of Impact Wrestling Slammiversary pay-per-view coming up on Sunday, June 19th from, your home turf of Nashville, Tennessee. It's basically in your backyard, not literally, but
Not literally, but
pretty much.
figuratively, I suppose. Pretty
So,
much.
you've been in Nashville for over a year now, like
Mhm.
residing. So how would you describe the overall Nashville aesthetic or vibe as a city?
Well, I've always loved Nashville. I've wanted to move here for, I don't know, over a decade. So, we started looking like we closed on our house so two Christmases ago. So,
Yeah.
right before, and we'd been looking actively kind of for the year before, but to find this place and it be so close to downtown for music and writing and recording, but also just it's like a slice of heaven out here. I mean, if people have seen some parts of it, like the barn, they've
Yeah.
seen the barn, um, either in when Deanna, came to my house or in the music video, grown ass woman, you might have seen it in there too, or a new video that I have coming out, which I just filmed. We filmed with Kenzie
Mhm.
Page and she's playing, and I can't wait. Pissed, which we recorded a really like movie type crazy scene in the barn to throw to,
No, I'm disappointed you didn't say pissed.
pissed,
There you go.
because you have to do it like deep. You have to get it deep and in the back of their throat.
I know. And you mentioned Kenzie Page, new NWA Women's Tag Team
I
Champion with
saw
Ella
that.
Envy.
I know. So proud of her. Yeah,
I
so proud
know.
of both of them. I just met her partner
Mhm.
at the last set of shows that we were at, and they were in a tag match, and I was like, oh my god, they're really great. They work like a tag team. They feel like a tag team. Um, and that's one thing is the tag team division. I think wherever you go is the one that it's really hard to find two
Yeah.
girls that get along enough
Mhm.
to be tag team
Mm.
partners, maybe. No, but seriously, I think because wrestling is such a self driven sport that you have to worry about yourself or whatever.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of people that form to go like, no, we want to be a tag team or we want to do this as a tag team. And I think they're really incredible and they're young and they're fresh and apparently they got it on the Hex. So but the Hex were an amazing tag team.
I
They
know.
defended those titles everywhere.
Mhm.
Um and they've been in for the past year almost. They've been the tag
Yeah,
team
they've
champions.
defended
So
them in the United Kingdom, in Ring of
yep.
Honor, all across the Indies, obviously in NWA. And they had an amazing reign. Obviously, now
Yeah.
we have new tag team champions with Ella Envy and Kenzie Page, the Pretty Empowered. So I assume there'll be a rematch at some point, but I think it's kind of the start of maybe a new era in the women's tag team division in
Yeah, it's
NWA.
exciting. It is exciting.
And you yourself have had some exciting news just drop a couple days ago on the Battleground podcast that you
Yes.
will be the special guest enforcer this year in the Queen of the Mountain match at Slammiversary. So, this will be your first time back at Impact in a couple months as well. So, how are you feeling, obviously, as your special role and going ahead into this event?
I'm really excited. I'm very excited. For the last couple of months since I've lost the championship, I just kind of had a reset moment, honestly, because I've like to be honest, I've done so much in the last year, and a lot of it was not expected. And I would just had to sit in a moment of gratitude to go like, wow, this has been a lot. But then like, what is? Because that's the question I keep getting. What's next? What are you going to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I, obviously my focus and my intention is always to, help women's wrestling and do more for women's wrestling. But other than that, I'm like, gosh, what else can I do? Like I don't know. So it's been crazy. However, Slammiversary is like 20 years. And when I remember when Impact first started, and that was the birth of myself, a little Alexis Lurie coming
Yeah.
to the fairgrounds and to kind of come home. And even a year ago, like I came back to Impact at Slammiversary because of the announcement of Empowerrr and all of these other things. And I think since that moment and moving forward between NWA and Impact, I've just been able to do so many amazing things. And um, obviously it's in Nashville, it's right down the road. It's back at the fairgrounds where it all began. Um, and it's the first ever Queen of the Mountain match. And that's incredible. And I thought, well, I really wanted to be a part of it. I didn't want to just insert myself in the matches, like be one of the competitors, you
Yeah.
know, because all these girls had like done so much to get to this moment. But I was like, I'd really like to have the best seat in the house, you know, and definitely watch it from in the thing and make sure there's no shenanigans. And perhaps that Chelsea doesn't win. What? I didn't say that out loud. Did I?
I think out of everybody in this matchup, there's really only two competitors I can see you being okay with winning in this matchup, being Nia and Jordan. You've had your
All right.
differences with Tasha,
Yeah,
Deanna,
but I
Chelsea.
promised all three of them, right? Like I lost the title to Tasha. I obviously had that feud with Deanna, which with the Texas Death Match, which was, I mean, I'll say like probably, especially in this last year, like this last run has been ridiculous. But that match I could put up there with, I would legitimately put it up there with the WrestleMania with Lisa versus myself in the cage match. Like that, it was a really defining moment for Mickie James in 2022. You know what I mean? Of what wrestling looks like for me. And I think because a lot of people had their own opinions of what that was. So, you know.
I know, but you're a fierce competitor in the ring. But I wanted to do a little exercise with you. And it's something that we've done before with you and Deanna. I mean, you have some grievances with some of your with some of the competitors in this Queen of the Mountain matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, putting everything aside, Mickie, can you share something you admire or like about each of the competitors in this Queen of the Mountain matchup?
Wow. Okay. Okay. I think for all of them, I could say their passion, right? Because I think to get to this level of success and this level of being noticed, you have to have a certain passion, right? And I think that they all have that. Deanna is so smart and she's funny, but I think she's also like, I put her up there as one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. And I don't put like male or female on that because I think that, and I think she's getting that across the board because she really has taken the time to, like, she knows what her piece is and what she wants that to look like. And she's like in that art of perfecting it. And I got a lot of love and respect for her in that capacity. And I honestly, like, our matches were they tested me, and it felt great to be tested to that level again, you know, like it really, with the time and then like with the position of those matches, and then just her, like we just had really great in-ring wrestling, you know, fight chemistry,
We'll make it a word.
That's it. That Tasha, I think that she's got bags of charisma. She's just like, she's money on the mic to me. Like her stupid song makes my shoulders move, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that she's like, just got that sass and that on camera, especially. And I feel like, she's worked really hard, you know, and I felt like this was a defining year for her in a sense, because she had this moment of, okay, well, what am I going to do now? Because Kiera left and she's doing amazing, but Tasha had to have like a little bit of a reset, and she went after it. And I think that she's done a damn good job, except for that time when she beat me.
Which I feel bad because I was at a concert that night, and I feel like if I was watching, you would have retained. So
yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
So maybe I gotta be there the next time.
Yes. Like my little rabbit's foot. I'll put you in my pocket.
Okay.
I'll hang you off my truck keys.
But I mean, in this matchup too, I mean, we have, Chelsea Green,
Chelsea
Yim,
Green, who I thought was my friend, and she's not my friend because there's no such thing as friends in wrestling. But again, Chelsea has been on a whirlwind in the last year because we've got let go at the exact same time. And I think that her and Matt both, they've done everything to like put their stamp down to go like, we're badasses. And I think they've been very successful in that. And I do appreciate, like, I appreciate the drive, because there's only one person fighting for you and like working for you, and you got to put in that work. And I think that she's done that, and she's literally showed up everywhere. And she was the winner of the cup, obviously, the NWA Women's Invitational. And yeah, I think it's exciting to see, but I think I'm in a different position too, because I've been wrestling for so long. So I can genuinely sit back sometimes and watch people's journeys. And I'm just so proud of her, aside from being a turncoat and untrustworthy, over the work that she's put in the last year. And I think she's done a phenomenal job, and she's doing like, yeah. Jordan Grace, she's a badass. I've not wrestled her yet, but I watched her. I've not. But I've watched her matches backstage, and I'm Lisa Marie. Yeah. Watching her match. I'm like, ooh.
Shout out to Lisa.
She's hard. Even I think Matt Cardona goes like, she's one of the hardest hitting people in the ring.
Yeah, he said that before.
Yeah. World's strongest woman. Don't come at me, Mark. I'm sorry. I didn't say it. Know what I'm saying? But I know it's Big Mama Pump, but she's pretty strong. She's strong. Yeah. Yeah. She's remarkable. And she's a smart cookie, like a smart businesswoman. So, on all fronts, between like, her socials and all that stuff, and the way she promotes the different stuff. But like, I was watching the video clips from those lifting thing, like I don't do that stuff, but I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. The powerlifting, like how strong she is. So anyway, and then Mia, which I've known Mia for a long time. Mia came from Baltimore area, had one of her matches in Baltimore at MCW. And then to watch her, and even at Impact when she first came in, she was part of that little trio. And then NXT and everywhere. And she's a force to be reckoned with. And I think that Mia has a lot of love from the wrestling fans, and she always has. And so it's going to be, I think it's just like a clash of like all these different types of women. And they're stylistically, they're all very different. So it's going to be a very interesting match, and an exciting match. And now you add like the little flavor of myself, making sure everything's on the up and up, and no shenanigans are abound. Right.
I'm excited. All former Knockouts champs too.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It really is going to be great. And I think there's going to be a night that like the night, it's a celebration of the last 20 years. So I feel like there's going to be surprises and all these other things that go down. And there's a good energy around it, like even when we were doing media the other day, like everyone's really excited. So it'll be fun.
And I mean, like you mentioned too, Impact is celebrating its 20-year anniversary, which is absolutely incredible. And I mean, outside of your own body of work in Impact, was there like a particular moment or match or something in the last 20 years that genuinely popped you in Impact?
Oh my God. I think there were a lot. Like for me, my first time there, like being the woman to do the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match with Raven, and to be able to sit as Alexis Lurie, like to sit under the learning tree of Raven and learn from him, and who is a genius, a crazy genius. But also to have Jeff believe in me enough, because he's like, him and his dad are like pretty much starting this company. So to have him believe in me enough, or like trust me enough to not only let me be in that kind of top position, but also beat me up, and trust me to beat him up. Yeah. It was like a pretty groundbreaking at the time, I thought. But it was also really cool because I could hear a lot of those like bigger conversations that I wasn't around before, as like the girls match on the card or whatever. But yeah, from there to, I mean, the birth of like AJ Styles and his whole career there. But there's been so many stars when you look at it, of like the history of Impact Wrestling and the stars that have come through there at all companies now. It's pretty remarkable. And I think that Impact has gone on this roller coaster of where people were like, oh, everybody was really excited about it. It was the new thing on the block. And then it kind of got a big rise, and then it as wrestling does the roller coaster, right? And I think there's been a lot of like worry, like, oh, impact, but we've been, especially even in the pandemic, I feel like they've really shown consistency of good matches, good stories, great talent, like all the things, and it's just been a good synergy around the product as a whole. And I always say, I'll put the knockouts division up against any women's division. Like it's thick, like the roster is thick and full of incredible talent, not just the women in that match, but I mean, you have like Giselle Shaw, you have, a Lady Frost, you have Havoc and Rosemary, who that whole tag team is one of my favorite. Like that whole element is one of my favorite. That's just wild, crazy.
Yeah, you have a whole roster too, making history. Like once again, in the first ever Queen of the Mountain, we saw the first ever Women's Ultimate X match.
Yep.
You and Deanna main evented a 10-fold pay-per-view for the first time for the knockouts. I mean, that's been absolutely incredible. I mean, the knockouts division is not one to sleep on.
Never one to sleep on. Never. I like that phrase too. It's like, oh, y'all was sleeping on. I do think, in my opinion, and I've just, from being a part of it and where I was, I feel like Impact was so ahead of the curve with the knockouts division, and to the point of it really pushed forward that rise in popularity of the sense of like, no, we're seeing what the women are capable of here, because they're getting 2-segment matches and longer matches and main events and these different types of matches, of watching like Gail and Kong, or even like myself and Tara in that cage match, to where they're going like, we want to see these women do it. And like, that's where that whole rise of like Give Divas a Chance and Women's Wrestling Matter, I think it really helped prove that point, because they could see what women were capable of everywhere else, or at least at Impact, they could see like, okay, well, when given the opportunity, these women really pull through and have just as good or maybe even better matches than the guys sometimes.
And I mean, you've had so many amazing moments throughout Impact Wrestling. I mean, you were part of one of the first ever Impact shows way back in 2002 as little baby Alexis Lurie. So between then and now, how do you think you've grown both personally and professionally?
I've learned to maybe not take everything so personally, and that business is business. And even though it's hard to swallow, I've learned to bite my tongue a bit better, except for when I can't.
Yeah.
I've learned patience. There's a lot of things, but I think that's on a human level, not even just wrestling level. Like, you just, as you grow, you become more patient. I think it's just like learning that line of like not putting up with bullshit, but also patience, and like learning how to pull your emotions from all the decisions, right? Because I think I lead with my heart a lot, and that's just my nature. And so if it don't feel it, then it's not it, so I just have to, I've had to learn to find that balance between my heart and my mind in a lot of my decisions.
I know. And Nick was telling me this too, that you guys were trying to focus more business and not take anything more personally, on my most recent chat with him too. And I mean, you've accomplished so much in your career too, the highs and the lows, everything in between. And you mentioned earlier, you were talking about on Battleground of kind of feeling, in a weird spot and not exactly knowing what's next or what the future holds. I mean, where is your head at right now? I mean, there has to be something that you want. Obviously the future is uncertain, but where is your head at right now? And what do you want, Mickie?
I want to help. Like, I really want to help the women's division. I still believe that there is a place for women's wrestling that is a viable product, and it's all in the way that women are presented and promoted. And I think that there is success in a lot of promotions that you see out there in women's wrestling, whether, you know, from Rise and Shine and Shimmer and in Japan. And I do think even with like WoW, that's on television, but I feel like it's the way, and I thought that's what the beauty of Empowerrr is, that it really, even with zero lead up except for media, it really like was a way to present the women, and Evolution was in that same capacity, you know, like it presented the women. But I do feel like there is a way to tell that story. And I'm like, so I'm working on like this project or whatever, where I'd like really like to do that, to kind of do more of a build and kind of tell these backstories of a lot of women in wrestling. Cause I think that that's kind of the thing of like, their stories don't always get told in the way that they want or whatever. So I don't know. I'm working on a lot of things. I'm obviously, I love wrestling. So I'm still wrestling in the sense that I'm coming back for this Slammiversary event. I'm excited to be a part of that. And then I'm working on a bunch of different other projects, obviously Her Legacy and Legacy, GAW TV. I don't know if you listen or watch it. You watch it because Miss Ella,
I do.
Me too. We're besties over there.
Oh my God, Mickie James called me her bestie. I'm going to post this.
I can't wait. I'm gonna put it on repeat. I don't know. Like I'm working on my garden. Been working on that.
And I need to get you some new muck boots, girl.
What's wrong with my muck boots? I got new ones. I got
do you?
ones.
I didn't even know that.
They're cute.
Oh damn, that takes away my birthday present I was gonna get you.
And my green pepper came in. I got a green pepper. Pulled a tomato or two the other day. I've had 2 hauls of strawberries. And I got squash coming. Like they're almost ready, but my zucchinis, I got to go out there and pluck them. So I'm really doing it.
Really a badass in every aspect.
I know. And I had good news from the vet that he thinks that I could actually breed my horse, my mare, because I had never bred her because I was on the road all the time. And so she's kind of older. So I had him come out, and I was going to looking at like a surrogacy or something, because I want to keep this bloodline alive, because it was I had the last baby from my grandmother's farm. So I'm like, oh, now that I'm actually home and maybe I could have a baby horse running around. This is so weird. But I'm like, I talked to him about that, and he goes, well, let me check her and let me see, because she is a maid mare. And he goes, you know, I think that you could breed this mare. I think that she'll be all right. You should just go. But if you want to do it, you should probably do it this year. I was like, oh, this is a new option that I hadn't even thought about. So there's that. I have a lot going on with my tribe right now back home. My mom was just elected to tribal council. So for the first time in 100 years, a woman has sat, it's equal now, has sat on the tribal council. They just ratified the Constitution. And so women are now allowed to sit on the council and to own land. I know it's 2022. Sorry, here we go, catching up. And it's been amazing. And so I went down to speak on behalf of that, and with the newly elected chief, Lonnie Costello, and Glory Costello is the assistant chief. So for the first time, a woman's been assistant chief, and now the council is split between men and women. So it's like a full split. And there's like 2 men that are sitting on it that are more of like a younger, I would say, generation. They're like in their 30s. So I felt like this like new kind of lease with the tribe and stuff is going to open up all these new opportunities and different things, and plus like a well-rounded vision for the tribe. So that's exciting, be a part of that. And it's summer holiday now, it's summer break.
And I mean, you're also a new host on Busted
Open.
She's got her whole new mic and everything. I'm so proud of her.
Microphone, I sure do.
So fancy.
I don't know if you saw, if I touched it. I am. How did I skip over that? I am, which has been so exciting. The new host for Wednesday with David LaGreca and Tommy Dreamer, and we even do a special segment called Women of Wednesday.
Yes. You had Trish last week. We had Kylan King on. We've had Renee Paquette. And yeah, that's exciting. So I think it's a way to, continue the love for women in wrestling. So yeah.
that's been so much fun. I don't know how I glanced over that. Sorry guys, but Busted Open is so fun. It's 3 hours. It's like a
Yeah.
full, yeah, but it's a good time. And the fans are great and it's entertaining. The guys keep me laughing the whole time. They are always popping. You know, I'm terrible. So I like will just chuckle and I'm constantly with the microphone and yeah.
Listen, she's got it down though. I must say, like I said, I'm very proud of her because a peek behind the curtain, Mickie James comes to me for some of her technical stuff. But I'm so
Struggle.
proud of you. You configured it yourself.
You know, we've come a long way.
We have.
We've really grown in this pandemic. We've learned about ring lights, about
She's got two of
Zoom.
them, y'all.
Two. I have two now. And this one, not only that, this one is it can go every color and it can even do a little swirly rainbow.
Hmm.
So more apparently for photography, which I haven't
Fancy.
mastered that whole thing of selfie photography thing. I'm like, no.
I did that. I just did a photo shoot the other day with my ring light and my selfie and my remote. You can
Little
just click.
remote.
Yeah. The shutter. Yeah.
Look at you go.
You need
I
to
need
get
to
onto
work
that.
on
That's
this.
your
I
next step.
do. It's
But
next.
I mean, you mentioned continuing the love for women's wrestling. I also think it's important to continue the love for yourself. I mean, you've done so many cool things throughout your career. So, I mean, what are a few things that you are really proud of about yourself, or what are some positive affirmations to remind you just exactly who you are? And that's Mickie
Oh,
James.
I love you. I do my affirmations in the morning
Yeah.
with my coffee. I go, and Nick will make fun of me. He goes, "We have all this furniture, and you'll just sit out here on the front porch." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I want the sun to beat me in my face while I say thank you." You know, so um, I think that's a that's just mindset, right? Like to keep my mind right. Because we can all go down the rabbit hole if we want to.
Mhm.
I'm proud of myself for perseverance, for it's been a whirlwind, not just my career, my just life in general, life for anyone, it's a lot. And I think it takes a lot for all of us to get up and go like, I'm a badass and I got this today,
Why am I crying right now?
Are you crying?
Yeah.
Oh, babe, I love you. But I think it's just different. Sometimes, we all have our good days and our bad
Yeah.
days. And some days you have to like literally look at yourself in the mirror. I do a lot of mirror work. That's like my thing.
Yeah.
Is like I do a lot of and say, you're a fucking badass. You got this, and I think that it's not always easy because there's a lot of people that there's a saying like people want you to succeed and people want to see you win, but just not more than them,
Yeah.
And it's like, so, and I think that's very sad. It's very true. It's very telling, but it's very sad because I feel like the more we win and the more people we keep in our circle that we want to win and that lift us up and we can lift them up, the more we all win, right? Like, whereas everybody's just kind of like pulling a little bit, then nobody really rises as high as we possibly could,
Mhm.
So anyway, that's just a whole nother, we could talk about that for hours.
But no, that's something that I honestly really admire about you. And like one of the biggest reasons like you're a huge inspo to me is because you have persevered through everything. I mean, through growing up and all of that, you've told your story about that and outside of wrestling, and then just your whole journey, like both personally and professionally, I think touches a lot of people. And that's honestly incredible how far you've come, like in the last 20 plus years, like not only in wrestling,
Thank
but like
you.
in general.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you. I've been really blessed and I've had a lot of good, like amazing teachers. Like it's and people that I could lean on and learn from, right? Or like that believed in me enough to like push me to believe, or perhaps didn't believe in me at all and it pushed me even more,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it's been crazy. And when I'd said this recently is like, when I first got into wrestling, like the common thing I remember people saying was like, well, if you get a job, and most women's career was
5 years.
5 years on television, right? So it's like, oh, once you go up and you go up, you'll have a 5-year career, you have a great run, you can go home and have kids and
Yeah.
next chapter. And I was like, but I've just did, in my mind, I go like, I've just dedicated so much time and love and energy. And I love this business why is my window only 5 years, you know? And that window has been, 15 years on TV now, over 20 plus years in the business. But like, I'd never thought that that would happen. And if you would have told little Alexis Lurie at the White Trash Cafe in Nashville when we were doing shows at the fairgrounds, and here we are 20 years later, if you would have told her then, like, oh no, we're gonna change how long women can be in wrestling, and we're going to change the roles that women can have in wrestling, like a head of the knockouts division, like a Gail Kim, like a Medusa, or a Jazz, or women writers sitting in there to help tell these stories as a woman would tell them. Like, that's like been a major role in the change that we're seeing now of like how women are being presented. And I love to see it. I love to see it, but I wouldn't have thought it 20 years ago. And the more you fight for things, and each time you push a little further. And I think that there's this whole new crop of women that are getting incredible experiences. I'm grateful to still be in the ring and to be able to share some of those experiences, but that now, like, the possibilities are endless, so it's exciting.
And you talk about that new crop. I was so excited when this match was announced a couple months ago, around WrestleMania weekend. You faced one of my favorites, Allie Katch, at GCW Spring Break during Mania weekend. So, I mean, how was that working with her for the first time? And what are your genuine thoughts about her? You talk about this new crop of women. She's been slaying it, honestly.
She has. I knew you were a big fan of her because we talked about that. I really, really like Allie Katch. And I think that she's really presented herself and found her niche and her home there with GCW, but also she was over. Like, she was super over there. But, and I feel like, and it wasn't just because obviously it was her hometown too. And it was cool for me to go into that environment because that was not my world, and they were very open. I think that the crowd was really hot and excited, but they were very split in the match because they wanted Allie to win.
Yeah, but I also wanted you to win.
I know.
And I felt like the real winner watching that from the crowd.
It was great. It was great. And she's fantastic. And I would hope to wrestle her again. And I can't wait to see what more she does and can do, in the world of wrestling, because she's really unique and she's fun and she's exciting and she's badass and she can wrestle her butt off. So it's cool to see.
I know, it was kind of hardcore country versus Lady Gaga in a sense.
Yeah. Gaga country is what that was.
There you go. There's your new tag. Although no, she is with Bussy. So you're gonna Effie, is that we need to make this a trios tag team.
Oh, I love Effie too. I do. Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the only incredible moment you had earlier this year. I mean, there was obviously the 22 Royal Rumble where you competed and were introduced as the Impact Knockouts champion, which itself was huge. But there was also another potential angle that many, including myself, were hoping for. And there was potentially another face-off between you and the Queen, Charlotte Flair. However, you two were in the ring at the same time throughout your whole time in the Rumble, but you two never touched. So
I know
what happened.
I know. We wanted too much, guys. When you stop wanting, that's when you'll get it, I don't know. I just your face is so no.
I need answers.
I don't have any. I do not have any answers as to why we never even touched. I think it just never even. The first time in the last Rumble when that happened, that moment happened, it was really freaking cool. But it just organically kind of happened. And I think that we all have, obviously it's the Rumble and I don't know why. I know I should have snatched her.
I know. I'm still so salty about it.
You were very salty at your face. You see, I'm so sorry.
It's
I didn't
okay.
realize. Yeah. I felt like, you fight for, and I knew that all these other things, and there was moments in that Rumble, especially in the entrance.
Yeah.
And
Eliminating
where
Michelle and all of that too.
and I was lost and a lot of those moments, and it was really cool. And it was cool to get I'd always wanted to hear hardcore country in a
Yeah.
WWE environment. I wanted to be able to present that character to a WWE audience because I thought that they would love it. And I never had a chance to. And I think the way they reacted and to the music and to the championship and to have all these little boxes and a lot of people leading up to it. And that's why I kind of was in and out of social media, is like, there's no way that this is going to happen. There's no way they're going to let her do this, this, and this. And I'm just like, okay. So let me see here, because in my mind, I felt like this is going to, and I'd prayed about it hard too. I'm like, it's going to go, I need this to go perfect for everyone. And now it did, in my opinion. Like, I was like, it sucks I didn't win, but at the same time, it was like a pretty historical moment, and people will never forget that moment because it was the first time they saw another company in modern wrestling television, because I know it's not first ever, but it certainly is the first ever for a woman. And it was the first time they had seen in this modern era of wrestling in the last 20 years, someone else's championship show up in another promotion and be respected and called out, especially WWE doesn't do that, right? And to be acknowledged and represented as that person, and it was pretty groundbreaking. And I think it opened up the door to all these possibilities and opportunities for other people to come in from other companies and still kind of play that, kind of thing. So it's exciting because now when you fantasy book these matches in your mind of like, oh, I would really like to see, Randy Orton versus Kenny Omega. Now you go like, oh, would that, probably not, maybe, but well, you never know.
I will tell you, this year in wrestling has already taught me that you can never say never, because I still remember when that news happened, and so many people kept tagging me in that because you were in it, and I was like, what? It was just one of those moments. And then that pop you got, and then the kind of callback to you eliminating Michelle and then Lita eliminating you. And that was actually your most impressive Rumble performance. Like, it was the longest time you had in the Rumble, which I think elevates it even more.
Yeah, I usually don't fare well in the Rumble.
No, unfortunately not.
And I'm surprised that they can even get me over the top because I got little legs, but somehow it happens every time.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you're just
a
big threat to win.
It was, and I'll tell you, in the entrance, you see me, there's a moment where I'm up on my tippy toes. I almost face planted because I was so in the moment of like, yes,
I know.
And I don't know how I ended up on my toes like that. I don't think that's something I normally do, but I did it that day. It's excitement. I was overcome with excitement.
I mean, that itself.
And then there were like moments, right, Ella? Like there was moments. There was like the entrance of that little explosion of energy and excitement, because I really didn't celebrate until it was actually happening, because it is wrestling and anything could change, anything could happen. And I didn't want to put the cart before the horse. So I just was waiting and kind of sitting and going like, please, 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 just, it's going to be great. And it was great. But even the holding the belts up at the top and then laying it down, and immediately with the moment with Michelle. And I think a lot of people thought that was going to be like the screw right there.
Girl,
like right
I was about to fight my television if you were going to get screwed right there.
Right there. I think a lot of people thought I was too, which was beautiful because it was just like a little,
You
but
got me.
I kicked her butt right out of there.
You did.
Right over the top.
She lasted a long while too. She lasted from number 10 to number 20. I'm pretty sure she lasted the longest of the legends. Probably. She was in there for a while.
Yeah, she was. And she kicked butt, a lot of butt. Except for mine.
There you go. Never say never in professional wrestling too. And I mean, you've had so many cool moments throughout this last run. Obviously the Rumble, returning to Impact at Slammiversary last year, but there was also NWA with Empowerrr. NWA did just recently announce their return to St. Louis in August for the 2-day weekend for NWA 74. And they said,
Mhm.
and I quote, after the enormous success of NWA Empowerrr and NWA 73 in 2021, the National Wrestling Alliance is pleased to announce that they will be turning to the ballroom inside the Chase Park Plaza
Wow.
for a 2-day pay-per-view wrestling event on August 27th and 28th, 2022 for NWA 74. However, there is no mention of Empowerrr 2. So,
Yeah.
you have any updates or insight into that?
I I don't. I did see that announcement go out, and I saw um that they were going. I knew they were going to go back because I remember the conversation of going back to St. Louis. So I felt like that was up. No, that was all kind of that's exciting though. That's exciting because the Chase Park Plaza is beautiful. We've obviously had conversations about it, Empowerrr, and it was something that was a possibility, but never a guarantee. I don't believe it is part of, I feel like obviously that tag team, the girls are now pretty empowered, and I feel
Mhm.
like there's going to be empower elements
Yeah.
there, but I don't know what that. So, but we'll keep our fingers crossed, and I'm still going to work on women's wrestling.
Of course, we are all hoping for an Empowerrr 2. Maybe it's just not in the cards right now, but as we said, never say never in professional wrestling, right?
Right. Always.
And I mean, you were in that position of power last year at NWA Empowerrr.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well,
Impact, go ahead.
yeah. And I think that, well, I don't know where you were going with that. I was in that position of helping. I mean, Em- Empower was I was very passionate about it. And I took all of it on, like myself, my friend Brent Tearing, Timmy Baltimore. He's very helpful. And like he and I together, like really kind of tried to find like how do we do this and how would it be? And like that was kind of the vision that I originally had all along. So it's like we kind of like molded the stuff, and Billy trusted me in the sense of to let us, you know, to do it and all that other thing. And it was a massive success in the sense of like people are still talking about Empower now. Like I always get questioned and people ask me, when is there going to be another one? And as far that was an NWA event and that I was put in charge of that event. And I think that I also thought that I would be able to help behind the scenes. And I think I help a little bit, but help behind the scenes with the girls and the women's division there and this, how we present the women at NWA. And I don't feel like I've been more like wrestling there and stuff. So, and I've also been really busy because I was the knockouts champion
Mhm.
after that, like I came in, I won the knockouts championship. So I felt like there was like a little bit of, back and forth. And I was always loyal to the NWA. Obviously, my husband's been there and he's been an incredible champion for
Mhm.
them. So I love them so much. And I'll always help them with their women, but if it's not Empower 2, or if it's not this year, that's fine. Or if it's not at all, that's fine. Because I still believe that women's wrestling will make money, and I'm still going to work on that and to, keep pushing it forward.
And that's all you can do. And
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in that position of power, and I mean, you've been with Impact Wrestling now, but if you had the power to sign any talent to join the Impact roster, who would you pick and why?
Oh, wow. Um, that's tough. Why would you put me on the spot like that?
Because we're besties and I want
I
to know your
know.
judgment.
If I can only pick one,
You can pick a couple if you want.
yeah, I would have signed Tony Storm.
Yeah.
I would have I would have definitely have signed Tony. There's a couple, like the thing is that there's so much talent, and I personally want good, great female talent in every division, because I want competition in the sense, because I think it just makes everybody better, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, if there's a killer division anywhere you go, then that's just going to raise the ante. I mean, that's really what started men kind of raising the bar and kind of trying to one up each other and like the types of matches and all that stuff. So I think if, I just want women to get more time to shine on their television. That's really That's really the thing. I don't think that it's really hard. And I think because I've been in both of those positions, I've been in those positions where I have a 4-minute match with entrances, and I've also been in positions where I have 20. So I think when you're given the opportunity and the equality to have those moments on television and really be presented as, you know, an equal, especially if you're one of the ones like putting butts in the seats, then I think the women will all step up no matter which division they're in. And I hope for that for everybody, because I think everybody wins.
And I think everybody wins too with this upcoming Impact Slammiversary pay-per-view. I mean, you'll obviously be involved in the Queen of the Mountain matchup, but to close things out, is there any other matchup on this absolutely stacked card that you're particularly looking forward to seeing?
Oh, well, I know Sami Callihan's back, right?
Mhm.
So that's going to be exciting. I think that's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to the surprises because I don't know about any of these surprises yet. I really don't. Don't look at me like that. I really
Okay.
don't. I wish I did. Like,
Okay.
and those are always, it's like, you know, Mania or anything like
Mhm.
that. Like when those surprises come back, I think they're like genuine reactions. Or
Yeah.
like when Kong came out for Empowerrr, I felt like that
Yeah.
was such a genuine, because it was a legit surprise, and to keep her hidden up until, you know, she
Yeah.
was going out there was not easy, you know. So I think it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited about the Good Brothers versus the Briscoe brothers. I saw that they just did where the Good Brothers went and attacked the Briscoe brothers on their
Yeah.
chicken farm, and it had PTSD. And
I know.
so if Briscoes, if you need some help, I always wanted to be a good sister though, you know, but you know, I don't have chickens, but I did want a couple chickens. So maybe get a little chicken coop, Briscoes, if you could spare one, and I could team up. We could be friends.
I mean, we got the TNA originals who are still looming for 2 tag team partners in that I don't know more versus kind of the TNA originals, Impact originals.
I could.
So I mean, you are an original. You were
I
at
am an OG.
you are.
I'm not the OG. That would be Tracy Brooks though. Yeah, but I am an OG.
That's gonna be some surprises right there.
I don't know. That'll be double duty that night.
You have pulled double duty before several times. But Mickie, I'm so excited for this Slammiversary card coming up on June 19th, this Sunday. Before I let you go, can you please tell the listeners where they can tune into Slammiversary and where they can find you on all the social medias?
Okay, well, make sure you're following Impact Wrestling. Go on over to their socials, impactwrestling.com, and you can follow their socials, get your tickets. It's going to be at the Nashville Fairgrounds, 20 years now, celebrating. I'm very excited. And you can just follow me. Go to mickiejames.com and you can find all my stuff. Really. It's search for this little blue check mark. Doesn't look like that. That's my hand. There's a little blue check mark. And that's how you know it's me, except for TikTok, because I can't figure it out. But other than that, life is great.
You can thank Ella J for a portion of her TikTok content.
Pretty much all of it.
That's all I'm saying.
Except for the ones that are really bad. The ones that are really bad, that's me.
The ones
that are actually decent.
I have some dancing videos. I have several videos of you dancing if you want to throw it up on your TikTok, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I got you.
Okay,
and of course, Legacy Subs, GAW TV.
You can go
all
to
that fun stuff.
GAW TV. Oh, that's right. GAW TV. You can watch us on Wednesdays. Busted Open is Wednesday mornings. Make sure you tune in there on Sirius, the SXM app, if you got it. Legacy Subs. Go get your subs so you can get jacked and stacked.
Jacked like Mickie effing James. Mickie, thank you so much for chatting with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
I love you. So thank you, Ella. I appreciate it.
And of course, don't forget to tune into Impact Wrestling's pay-per-view Slammiversary coming up this Sunday, June 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central on Fight TV, where Mickie James will be the special guest enforcer in the first ever Queen of the Mountain match. Got to keep them in line, Mickie.
Right down the middle. Right there. Unless you're Chelsea. And then you're here. What? No, I promised. Straight and narrow.
She has her fingers crossed.
I don't. I don't.
Mickie,
toes.
thank you so much again.
I love you.